Have you ever been to a playground at night? The silence, the creaking swings in the wind, the feeling that something is watching you. This is the true story of a person who encountered paranormal events in a playground. And after hearing this, you'll never see these places the same way again. Carlos always passed by the neighborhood playground on his way home from work. During the day, the place was filled with the laughter and joy of children. But at night, the atmosphere changed completely. It was one of those old playgrounds, with rusty metal equipment and swings that creaked with the slightest breeze. One night, Carlos decided to cut through the playground to get home faster. The air was cold, and the full moon illuminated the abandoned equipment. He always avoided passing through there at night, but this time he was tired and wanted to get home quickly. As he walked, he heard a faint sound of laughter. He stopped for a moment, looking around, but saw no one. He thought it might be the echo of children's laughter who had played there during the day and kept walking. Carlos continued on his way, but the laughter didn't stop. On the contrary, it seemed to get louder and closer. He began to feel uneasy, but tried to ignore the sound, believing it was just his mind playing tricks on him. However, what happened next was impossible to ignore. One of the swings started moving on its own, slowly creaking. Carlos stopped and watched, trying to find a logical explanation. The wind was calm, and there was no one around. The swing kept moving, faster and faster, as if an invisible force was pushing it. His heart began to beat faster. He thought about turning back, but something inside him forced him to keep going. Every step he took felt like he was being watched by invisible eyes. With every movement, the laughter grew louder, now accompanied by whispers that seemed to come from all corners of the playground. Suddenly, a shadow darted in front of him, moving from one piece of equipment to another. Carlos froze in fear, feeling a cold shiver down his spine. He decided to take out his phone and call a friend, but the screen was black, with no signal. Panic began to set in, and Carlos started running, trying to get out of the playground as quickly as possible. But the more he ran, the more he felt he wasn't alone. The shadows seemed to follow his every move, and the whispers turned into muffled screams. He stumbled over a rock and fell, tearing his pants and hurting his knee. He quickly got up, ignoring the pain, and kept running. Finally, he saw the playground exit in the distance. Feeling a mix of relief and terror, he ran with all his might. But just as he was about to leave, he felt a cold hand grab his arm. He quickly turned around and saw a spectral figure with empty eyes and a deeply sad expression. The figure didn't move, but Carlos felt his energy being drained. In a last effort, he yanked his arm free and managed to escape. He ran out of the playground without looking back, his heart pounding wildly. Every step took him further away from that terrifying place, but the fear still clung to him. Finally, he reached home and locked the door behind him, breathing heavily. He tried to rationalize what had happened, but nothing made sense. The playground seemed to have a life of its own, as if it were haunted by spirits that couldn't find peace. Carlos never passed by the playground at night again. The experience left a mark on him, and he even avoided looking at the place during the day. The laughter and whispers continued to haunt his dreams, turning his nights into constant nightmares. He told his story to a few friends, but no one believed him. They said it was just his imagination, but Carlos knew the truth. There was something in that playground, something that didn't belong to this world, and he knew he could never forget that night. And you? Have you ever had a similar experience? Tell us in the comments, and remember, we're not always alone, even when it seems like we are.